So it's okay in the beginning. Okay, screening and archetypes. Again, this is the question about, well, how do I avoid stalkers, right? Well, let me say this, that everything in human interaction is chaotic, okay, and we cannot predict everything with certainty. We can make certain generalities, okay. There are certain things that'll work in most circumstances, but there's nothing that's going to work all the time, okay. Anybody that claims otherwise is full of shit, frankly. Okay, so in some ways we're playing the averages with this. So you have to be willing to sort of play the averages. Okay, so the good girl, right? Everybody wants a good girl. This was what Pure Evil was kind of talking about earlier. Was how do I get a good girl? Well, the first thing is there are some guys like the guy I work with, Promiscuity Rules, who says there's no such thing, and I'm actually kind of inclined to agree. I want you to understand that these archetypes are simply a form of notation. And that human beings, so it's just notation. In the field, these are useful because girls are going to exhibit tendencies in these directions, but it doesn't mean that's who she ultimately is, okay? Unless she's like really a real freak. But it's just, all it's doing is sort of talking about an orientation, a general orientation. Human beings are very, very complex. This is an oversimplification. That said, good girls are girls, and they can blend. Good girls are girls who are really going into a relationship, are looking for men on a very emotional level. They're not after money. They're not really after sex or adventure. They're really looking to connect with somebody. Okay. Most girls have some element of this in their personality, but some more than others. Good girls, and you can write this down, are the equivalent of an AFC guy. So you could say equals AFC guy. Good girls have no game. They have no game. You don't have to game them, okay? That's the biggest mistake guys will make once they become pickup artists, once they understand this stuff, is they'll game a good girl too hard, and they'll blow themselves out. Good girls aren't interested in the sort of gaming, okay? I have another ethical thing. I don't know if it's ethical or just a strategic thing, but I only game girls. I only play games with them to the extent that they're gaming me. Okay, so if they're willing to get real, I'm willing to get real. Okay, and I would recommend the same thing. Okay, there's no need to sort of overdo it. So girls like this, the way they're going to look in the field, you'll be able to spot them. They'll dress nicely, maybe fairly conservatively. They'll tend to hold their drink high. They'll look a little bit nervous. Okay, these are the good girls. Okay. They can be fairly easy to approach. One way to find out if she's a good girl is to offer to buy her a drink. And this is sort of goes counter to some things. A good girl will refuse a drink from a stranger. She'll say, hey, I buy my own drinks. Okay, sure son. Sure son. Okay? So that's it. Now, an adventurous, these are my favorite, frankly. These are also the most difficult women to have relationships with. Okay? They're the equivalent of the male adventurer, basically. Okay? They're driven by excitement. They're driven by emotion. They need constant stimulation, okay? Emotional stimulation. They need that. And if you don't provide it for them, guess what? That's right. These are the drama queens. They are going to create drama, okay? If you don't, get them out and get them that fix of adrenaline, they're going to create situations, jealousy plots. They're going to flake out. They're going to do things to try to get an emotional reaction out of you, so that you'll give them that kind of charge, because that's exciting. Okay. Again, none of these are judgmental. These are just sort of ways of categorizing. Women tend to be blends of these things, but one or more of these traits will tend to be dominant. Okay. Adventurous girls in the bar. How can you spot them? Well, they're going to dress really, really slick usually. They're going to be they'll be the girl out in the middle of the dance floor, carrying on, making out with other girls. Just, these are the girls that are just over the top. They're the party girl. Paris Hilton, Nicole Richie, Britney Spears, who's really off the charts, right? These are adventurous. They're called freaks, was the old term. I like this better. But they're just into adventure and excitement, okay? They're actually pretty easy to game. What you have to do is challenge them, give them a sense of adventure and excitement. Say things that are kind of outrageous, right? Escalate quickly, you know, kiss them and do stuff, be playful with them, because that's going to give them that sense of excitement, okay? And then they're going to want to kind of continue to get that from you, okay? They're a handful in a relationship, okay? This is the woman I was with for 4 years. I didn't understand any of this. I kept expecting that she was going to calm down eventually, but they never calm down, okay? But they're great, they're fun, they're wonderful. The sex is great, okay? It's great with them. Okay, so, materialista. This is probably the most demonized of all the types, okay? This is, the old term for this was a whore, okay? This is a girl who uses her sexuality to get money, basically, from guys. She's after comfort and money and the finer things in life, okay? The guys that hate on these chicks simply can't afford them, in general. The way to spot a girl like this, okay, in the club, she's going to have expensive jewelry on, okay? She's going to be wearing like watches and things. She's going to dress sexy, but not slutty, okay? There's a difference. So her clothing, it'll be really finely tailored. It'll be expensive, fine clothing. You know, very nice shoes. She will be immaculately groomed. And her behavior is going to be, it's going to be not like a wallflower, the way the good girl tends to be kind of a wallflower, like AFC and nervous. But it's not going to be as over the top as the freak, you know, out there freak dancing and, you know, doing all that stuff on the, she's not going to be that out of control. There's going to be a certain reserve and a certain calculating thing to her. We're going to see a lot of these girls tonight at the Huntley. Okay, the Huntley is a hunting ground for materialistas, because there's a lot of rich guys that go there. Okay, high-powered, you know, sort of Hollywood types, and so they know where to hunt for these guys. What they're looking for, the surest way to spot a materialista is you'll be talking to her, you'll be having a good time, and she'll ask you to buy her a drink. Bingo, she's materialista. You need to decide if you want to game a materialista. That's what you're interested in. They tend to be really beautiful. If you're able to provide for them, they'll stick around as long as you're able to provide for them and take care of them. Okay, they'll be very loyal in that sense. Okay, but they also may jump ship when somebody richer comes along and can provide better for them. Okay, so don't hate them for this. This is just kind of how they are. You tend to not see, there's certain blends you don't see. You don't see the good girl and the materialista blending. They're like polar opposites. But you will see the good girl and the adventurous blend, and you'll see the adventurous and the materialista kind of blend. But you tend to not see those other ones blend, okay? So that's just, and again, it's notation. This is just a general orientation. You know what you'll hear from a really good materialista? Let me buy you a drink. That's how you know you're dealing with one who's got a really high level of game. Well, why would a girl who's after your money buy the first drink?
Well, you're buying the next one.
That, and the next, and the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. She knows that if she exhibits generosity, that's going to disarm you, okay? And then you're going to be willing to foot the bill for everything that follows.
She's going for the long con.
It's a, well, no, that's a high level of game.
It's like at the airport where they give you that free trinket before they ask you for money.
It's the same thing. That's a high level. The materialistas are the female equivalent of the player. You understand? The player, the guy that's out to use and sort of exploit women. She is the female equivalent of that. Okay? Don't hate her, but just decide whether you're screening when you're out. You're trying to figure out who you're dealing with. It's very important that you not, fall in love with the materialista thinking she's a good girl. These are these divorces that you hear about where the guy just gets ripped